It was a quiet afternoon when my life began to spiral out of control. The sky outside was a dull gray, and the house was eerily silent, except for the occasional hum of the refrigerator. My name is Chloe, and for the past few years I've lived with my husband Ethan and his parents. It was a decision we made early in our marriage. Ethan thought it was best for us to live with his parents to save money and stay close to family. His parents were kind, welcoming, and respected our space, so I didn't have any major concerns. At first, things were great. My mother-in-law took over the housework while I worked, and I handled the chores when I was home. Everything was balanced, and we all got along. But there was one person who could throw off that balance with just her presence. Emily, Ethan's older sister. Whenever Emily visited with her daughter, Olivia, tension filled the air. Emily had a way of making me feel like I didn't belong, like I was an intruder in my own home. From the very beginning, she treated me as an outsider. No matter what I did to try and fit in, Emily would find a way to dismiss me. "Chloe, could you get me a cup of tea?" she'd ask in a tone that dripped with condescension. "You must have it easy, just hanging around the house all day." It didn't matter that I worked outside the home. Emily had already made up her mind about me. Her daughter, Olivia, was no better. Olivia had graduated from college but struggled to find a job. She would often visit, complaining about how the world didn't recognize her talents. "Olivia is brilliant," Emily would say, glaring at me as if I was responsible for her daughter's misfortunes. I tried to offer advice once, suggesting that maybe Olivia should broaden her job search, but Emily shot me down instantly. "What would you know, Chloe? You don't work nearly as hard as I do." I let it go, not wanting to make things worse. Eventually, Olivia did find a job, but not because of her skills. Emily had pulled strings, using her connections at a company where she worked part-time. Olivia was overjoyed when she finally landed a position, and Emily made sure everyone knew it was because of her. "It's a subsidiary of the company I work for," she boasted. "I'm sure they recognized my name on her application." The tension only worsened when Emily asked my mother-in-law if Olivia could stay with us during her month-long training. The training facility was close to our house, and Emily thought it would be more convenient for Olivia to stay here rather than commuting from her own home. My mother-in-law, always generous, agreed without hesitation. But no one asked me. I found out Olivia was moving in only after everything had been decided. I didn't object at first. After all, she was family, and I believed we could manage. But as soon as Olivia moved in, things quickly took a turn for the worse. Olivia's presence in the house was disruptive, to say the least. Despite the training center being just a few minutes away, she was late almost every day. Her years of living a relaxed student life had made her careless, and she didn't seem to care about her new job. "Grandma, why didn't you wake me up?" she'd complain, even though she was a grown adult and it wasn't anyone's responsibility to wake her. My mother-in-law, always patient, would softly apologize and try to wake her earlier the next day. But nothing seemed to change. Olivia's attitude was just as bad when she returned home in the evenings. She expected dinner to be ready the moment she walked in the door, and if it wasn't, she'd throw a fit. "I'm exhausted. Why isn't dinner ready yet?" she'd snap. Watching my mother-in-law, who was trying her best to accommodate her, be treated this way made my blood boil. One evening, I couldn't take it anymore, and decided to say something. "Olivia, you shouldn't take having dinner ready for you for granted. You need to show Grandma some appreciation." My words were meant to remind her of basic manners, but Olivia's reaction was immediate and hostile. "Why do I have to listen to you, Chloe?" she spat. "You're not even family." Her words cut deep, but I tried to remain calm. "I am family," I said firmly. "I'm married to your uncle, and we're all living in the same house. We need to respect each other." But Olivia wasn't interested in respect. "Mom says you're just an outsider," she shot back, "so stop pretending you belong." Her dismissal hit me harder than I expected. I had always seen myself as part of this family, but now Olivia had voiced what I had secretly feared all along, that to her and Emily, I was nothing more than a guest who had overstayed her welcome. Still, I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. "Whether you see me as family or not, you're an adult now, Olivia. Being late to work and demanding everything be done for you isn't acceptable. Olivia rolled her eyes and muttered something under her breath, clearly not taking me seriously. But I was determined to make her understand that her behavior couldn't continue. Things came to a head a few days later when my in-laws told Olivia they had tickets to a theater show and wouldn't be home that evening to cook dinner for her. Olivia was furious. "What do you mean you're going out?" she yelled. "I'll be starving by the time I get home from work." My mother-in-law, visibly upset, tried to explain that they had planned the outing for weeks, but Olivia didn't care. "Cancel it," she demanded. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was the same girl who had been late to her training almost every day, now throwing a tantrum because her grandparents wanted a night out. Trying to defuse the situation, I stepped in. "It's okay, I'll cook dinner for you, Olivia. You don't need to worry about it." My in-laws looked at me with gratitude, but Olivia's scowl deepened. "Fine," she muttered, storming out of the room. That night, I left work early to come home and prepare dinner for Olivia. As always, she returned from her training and collapsed onto the couch, acting as if the world owed her something. "Chloe, I'm starving. Hurry up and get dinner ready," she groaned, not even bothering to lift a finger to help. I decided it was time to draw the line. "Olivia," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "how about we cook together tonight? I've got everything we need, and it'll go faster if we work together." She stared at me like I'd just asked her to do the impossible. "Why would I help you? I've been at work all day. I'm too tired for housework." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I've been working too, Olivia. We both have jobs and we both need to contribute to this household." But instead of seeing reason, Olivia stood up and glared at me. "We are not the same," she sneered. "You don't work full-time like I do. Just make dinner and stop pretending you're on my level." Her words stung, but I knew arguing would only make things worse. So I swallowed my pride and went ahead with making dinner alone. As I prepared the meal, I could feel the tension in the house thickening like a storm cloud. Olivia sat on the couch, flipping through TV channels without a care in the world, while I quietly cooked in the kitchen. When dinner was finally ready, I set the table and called her over. She ate in silence, her face twisted in annoyance, as if I had forced her to eat the food I'd worked hard to prepare. As soon as she finished, she pushed her plate away and got up to leave, not even bothering to clean up after herself. "Aren't you going to clean up?" I asked, my frustration bubbling to the surface. Olivia glanced at me and shrugged. "That's your job, isn't it?" she said, her tone dripping with entitlement. Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Emily standing there, her face twisted with anger. Emily marched into the house without so much as a greeting. "Chloe, we need to talk," she said sharply. Olivia, who had been lounging on the couch, perked up at the sight of her mother. "Mom, Chloe's been on my case all day," she whined, as if I had been the one making her life difficult. Emily's glare turned on me. "I warned you over the phone, Chloe," she said, her voice low and threatening. "If you keep bothering my daughter, you're going to have to leave this house." My heart raced as I tried to defend myself. "I'm not bothering her, Emily. I'm just trying to teach her some responsibility." Emily scoffed. "Responsibility? You? You barely work, Chloe. You have no right to lecture my daughter on anything." Her words were cruel, and for a moment, I stood there in stunned silence. Emily didn't stop. "You're not needed here. You're just living off my brother and his parents. So why don't you pack your things and leave?" Something inside me snapped at that moment. I had tolerated Emily's insults and Olivia's selfishness for so long, thinking they were family. But now it was clear that no matter what I did, I would never be accepted as part of their family. "All right," I said quietly, feeling an odd sense of calm wash over me. "I'll leave." Without another word, I turned and walked to my room, pulling out a suitcase. As I packed, I could hear Emily and Olivia whispering and laughing in the living room, clearly pleased with themselves. They thought they had won, but they didn't realize the truth was about to come crashing down on them. Just as I was zipping up my suitcase, the front door opened, and my in-laws walked in. "Chloe? What's going on?" my mother-in-law asked, her eyes wide with concern as she saw my luggage. Before I could answer, Emily jumped in. "Chloe's been a nuisance and we're making her leave," she said smugly. My mother-in-law's face drained of color. My mother-in-law turned to me, her expression filled with confusion and worry. "Chloe, is that true?" she asked softly. I took a deep breath, knowing the time had come to reveal the truth. "Actually, no, it's not true," I began, my voice steady. "Emily and Olivia have been treating me like an outsider, and I've had enough. But there's something you should all know." Emily's smug smile began to falter. "What are you talking about?" she demanded. I looked her straight in the eye. "I've been working full-time this whole time, Emily. I'm not just sitting around the house. In fact, I'm an executive at the corporate office of the company where Olivia just got hired." The room went silent. Olivia's face turned pale. "What?" she whispered. "You're an executive?" "Yes," I confirmed. "I was the one who recommended Olivia to HR. I didn't want her to know because I thought it would be good for her to learn responsibility on her own." The truth hit Emily and Olivia like a tidal wave. Emily's face twisted in shock, while Olivia's eyes filled with panic. "Please, Chloe," Olivia stammered. "Don't tell anyone. I didn't know. I'll change, I promise." But I wasn't finished. "Emily, you should know that your behavior as a manager has also come under scrutiny. There's been an investigation into how you've been treating your part-time employees, and the parent company is aware of everything." Emily's confidence crumbled before my eyes. "Wait, no," she pleaded. "That's a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to mistreat anyone." I stared at her coldly. "It's too late for that, Emily. The truth is out, and there's no going back." With that, the power dynamic in the house shifted completely. Emily and Olivia, who had once looked down on me, were now at my mercy. I stayed in the house, supported by my in-laws, while Emily lost her job, and Olivia was sent to a remote training center. The peace that followed was more than worth the battle I had fought.